And I think we're live. You should be able to hear me now. It's been a while. But I decided to get back into streaming. And I'm excited, and so are the 9 people watching. I mean, I appreciate that you're still here, even though for the YouTube algorithm I'm practically dead. Oh, cool. God. Siddharth Rathod. I don't think I've seen you before here. Hi. Pebor? I don't know if Pebor is here. At least he doesn't seem to have the YouTube username. Muhammad Nishal. Luke Skywalker. Hi. Cool. Yeah. So you might have seen on the to-do, we have some stuff to do. Suda-san Ready is also here. Also a regular. Cool. Evil script. And Pebor. Oh, we've got quite a... Oh, Ghost. I think I've seen you too. Cool. Chat is surprisingly active. Graham Winchester. Winchester? I'm sorry, my voice. Hey. Awesome. So, I'm watching on the second screen, and I'm always getting distracted, even though it's what I did. So, be gone. Second tab. Bob Lowe. E. I agree. E. No, not eBay. E. Where's Markiplier? Come on. E. Never mind. Okay. Are you using only C and shell script in InstantOS? I have recently learned Rust, and I have started the first InstantOS project in Rust called Immersit, and it will ship with the next beta, and it's a dot file manager, basically. But one of its main purposes is to retain customizability of the operating system while still providing an out-of-the-box experience, so you don't run the risk of overwriting user configuration. It works by checking hashes of different sections in the file. It's a whole nother story. I haven't planned anything with Rust or Immersit in this stream. But yeah, I think it's shaping out to be quite useful, the program. Yeah. Oh. Rick. Yee. Also, haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so what I wanted to do today is document the instant menu syntax. I have a new documentation on instantos.io/docs based on mkdocs as opposed to Jekyll for the previous documentation and the current website. Jekyll is fine for the website, but it's not really suitable for documentation, and mkdocs has a lot of advantages. And what I wanted to do is to document the instant menu syntax, because it's not documented anywhere. So people can build their own instant menu applications. Whoops. Pebor Messenger. I don't know what that means. So basically how this works, I have this docs folder with a bunch of markdown, and I can put stuff in there, and it gets made pretty by the site generator. I think I put this in development. Oh, okay. A tiny bit of it is already documented. Actually, I don't know. We can make this sh. Did you get the document website from bottom documentation. I'm not sure what you mean. I transferred most of the Markdown from the old website. They're both using Markdown, so I can copy stuff pretty easily. Let's see how this looks. I think I will add some pictures, definitely. Let's see. I definitely have some stuff here. So there's comments here. I think I'm lacking color syntax, yes. So I'll definitely add color. Icon entries are regular selectable entries that are free. Bottom document. Oh, I actually didn't know that bottom is also using mkdocs. Bottom is a system monitor, which is pretty cool. I'm using it instead of htop. Oh, it did migrate to mkdocs last month. And it's even using the same theme. I actually wasn't inspired by bottom, but looks like, ooh, it has this. Yeah, it's the same theme. I applied an InstantOS color scheme to the InstantOS documentation, but other than that, I think the table looks a bit different. Oh, and I don't think I have this. Oui. Let's check this out. Spanish, English. Please, should we start to have material in Spanish or with subtitles for Spanish-speaking Linux distribution is excellent. Thank you very much. I do not plan on localizing InstantOS anytime soon. Documentation, we can definitely localize this as far as there's someone willing to translate it. But yeah, I think YouTube does auto-generate subtitles in different languages for the VODs. I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty. Maybe it does this. It does this for some videos. I don't know what the criteria is. Okay. Actually, yeah, I forgot that I wrote a lot of documentation already. Or a lot is a strong word. Appearance. I'm on stream. In fact. This syntax will not be rendered apart from the changes in appearance, but will still be present in std out, selecting an entry. Yes, you are too. And I'm really glad that I don't have my email client open right now. You can see everything. Oops, I think this is supposed to go here. No. I'm actually not sure where to put chat. I think I'm just gonna do this. I mean, I have a tiling window manager. Here. And wait, why is this gone? Oh, it's because of Vim wiki. In order to render properly, to be present in order to render properly. I think I'm gonna put color in front of the icon syntax. Where's the markup? There it is. The icons in use are provided. You can you can, I don't know how to put it, but you can put icons there that are from this library. The icon set in use is nerd fonts. And a collection of icons that include the font awesome. font awesome, which is this link. Icon set and can be searched through. Is the instant menu remove hover, color, highlight, and command lines feature not going to be implemented because it was removed from to do? I'm actually not sure whether or not I will implement that. Maybe I'll do it as an option, but I thought about it. The thing he's talking about is that empty comment entries still have a selectable color. So if I rebuild instant menu from master really quick, okay. So if I open up this menu, you can see that the item I'm hovering above has a highlight. So I can go up and down with my arrow keys, and you can see that my selection moves. And the problem this causes is that some people think that these items are clickable because they have a hover over. And yeah, so some people ask me to remove the hover over on these. The problem with that is, though, that it is impossible to see where your selection is if you're not using a mouse, if there's no highlight. So if you wanted to scroll down using the arrow keys, you'd have to basically I mean, you'd have to either know that you can use the page keys, which not everyone wants to do, and you also could just completely not realize that there is a second page because you're thinking to yourself, I'm pressing the arrow keys and nothing happens. So imagine just that the highlight was gone, and if there's no highlight, you might expect that you go to the next page immediately by pressing the arrow key, which is not the case because there's a selection. So you have to have the selection in order to have an indicator that something is happening when you're pressing the arrow keys. And I think that's a problem. For example, if you create an iMenu message, -m hello, and let's just do ls workspace. If you do this, or let's do something shorter. Let's test. If you do this, and then at the bottom, there's the OK thing. Okay, that's a bad example. Let's do a shorter thing. There we go. Still too long. Instant CI. There we go. So if you have a dialog message that has a selectable OK thing, then you need to have some kind of indicator that you actually can move the selection down using the arrow keys. And the other idea was to add a non-selectable syntax so people can't select stuff. The problem with that is too that the way instant menu works at the moment, which is derived from dmenu, is that the selection always is on screen. So if I move the selection down here, now the last item is selected. Now if I move down the selection, it would be off screen if the menu didn't adjust and go to the next page. And when I have that, that's only the case if this item is selected. If it's not selected, the menu doesn't care if it's off screen. So if I make the item non-selectable, so basically if every item that you can't click, which is every item here, because this is just a dialog which gives you information, then I would press arrow down, it would go to this one, realize that it's not selectable, go down to the next one, which is also not selectable, yada, yada, yada. And because it can't select any of these, it just goes straight down to the last page, and you're skipping everything in between. And that's a problem, obviously, because you couldn't have long menus this way. And you also can't just hard code the pages because they'll be different depending on font size and display size. So that's the problem why I'm not completely removing the highlight. What I am thinking about maybe is, I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas on how to improve this situation? Because I think the convention that unclickable buttons are grayed out is pretty much accepted in a lot of places. Like if you're familiar with any GUI tools or have worked with them, I think the buttons being grayed out is, or being grayed out upon hover over is an indicator that it's not selectable. But either we have people working in the terminal too much, or there's something more that I can do to indicate that it's not clickable. Because without like a major refactor of instant menu, I don't think it's possible to remove the highlight completely. And yeah, a syntax option would be good in some cases, but for example, it's not really useful for menus like this, or in most of the Instant Arch menus, it wouldn't be useful either because a lot of them are just showing you information. So one instance where it would be helpful is, for example, a single header that then can be skipped. This can be an option. Another option, I don't know, are there any other places than settings where this would be useful? Because I don't know. The problem is also that I would have to copy all of the syntax from all of the markup, or basically have it support all of the markup features that normal entries also support. So that means, yeah, maybe it's a prefix. I could do a prefix for the entry, and then you can put all the other markup and stuff. I don't know, but that would also be pretty verbose because you're already indicating it's a comment by making it non-selectable. Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing, but I think do I have? Did I add that to the to-do? I think I removed it because I realized that the way to just remove the highlight outright wouldn't work. So I removed it from the to-do list. But I think I will add it to the to-do for 1.0. Instant menu syntax markup for non-selectable items. Reselect, skip upon selection. One problem I also would have with these non-selectable items is if you hover over them with your mouse and one of them is non-selectable, where does it go? Basically, where does the highlight go? Because you can't just keep the last item highlighted. That would look really weird, like it doesn't work properly. chat go? A lot of things in insert menu are just 2 lines for good applications, 2 general spaces. Yeah. 2 lines. Yeah, maybe the dash M and menu dash M. Hello. Maybe I can make it maybe I can make this unselectable. I mean, that would work probably. Yeah. For instant assist, is there anything in there that's not selectable? I don't know. I think instant assist couldn't use the feature, but maybe I'm missing something. But I think it's a good to do for the 1.0 release. Okay. Oh, iMenu also needs some documentation. I'll just copy the GitHub really quick. iMenu gets some brackets and a link. List of colors. Let's throw the table here. Color code. Are you running on a laptop PC? I'm running on a PC right now. But yeah, for the stuff I'm doing right now, any machine really would be enough. Okay, color, green, G. Red, R, H, highlight. Oh, wait. Highlight, H, yellow. It's a Y. Blue, blue. Which colors does it support actually? Okay, we have red, green, yellow, highlight, and blue. Okay, all of them. And I'm wondering if we can remove these columns here. Looks like we can. Awesome. I'm hoping this renders correctly in mkdocs. Whoops. Quick example, JR. Random number from range. Selectable headers that the user can select and cursor gone. That's just keyboard action for almost everything informational. The random number generator can use a header? I'm sorry, I can't follow. echo colon B. Hello world. I think we need to put this in bold. Okay, we might need some pictures. After you generate the number, the copy menu. YouTube seem. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't choose live chat. I have no idea why top chat is enabled by default. It just uses AI to filter out messages. And it's some messages. For example, potential spam. I mean, this is in German right now because I don't know why YouTube isn't in English. But some messages, for example, spam. What else is filtered out here exactly, and by what criteria? Like, this is really unclear, and why the frick would you do that? I don't get that. I've been thinking about multi-streaming. I mean, I'm still too small to have some kind of partnership with any streaming site, so basically I could just stream to every platform I can. Definitely Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, the reason why most Twitch streamers don't stream on YouTube too is because they're not allowed to. It's they will get unpartnered from Twitch if they stream anything to YouTube, if the footage is not at least 24 hours old. They kind of sign an exclusivity contract for 24 hours if you are a Twitch streamer. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll do some pictures. And because InstaMenu grabs the keyboard, I can't actually make any screenshots while using it, which is usually not a big problem when not writing documentation for the operating system. But yeah, I'm doing it in a virtual machine. And I'm taking chat with me. That's not chat. Can you stream on Odyssey? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the streaming feature on Odyssey, to be honest, because it's completely centralized and they are so big on the censorship stuff, and they are more and more opening up stuff that instead of avoiding a platform that can be censored, just puts the power to censor people in their hands. And yeah, I mean, if their message is that any power will be abused, then they shouldn't collect any like that. Library is cool, and I think the library branding of the protocol and the library.tv platform and the desktop app all is very confusing for non-tech people to use, so that's why they started Odyssey. But Odyssey is surprisingly centralized. Like, there's no documentation on any of the server software, if you can even find it on GitHub. And that means that there are no other Odyssey instances. I think the library company controls a lot of the servers behind library, so it's not actually very decentralized. I mean, it's technically anyone can set up a library instance and stuff, but for being the developers of a decentralized protocol, they're not pushing too hard to decentralize it, actually. But I don't know. I think library is definitely awesome, and more people should get on it. It's definitely better than YouTube. Just the streaming, I don't know. I think decentralized streaming is really, really hard to implement, probably. So that's why they're not doing it. But if they are doing that, then maybe they should at least provide the instructions to host your own server for the Odyssey streaming thing, because it's all supposed to be open source. Actually, let's look that up right now. Odyssey Media Server, there it is. It has 8 stars on GitHub, so no one cares that it's open source. No one is hosting an instance of this but the library company. 8 stars for a website that at least, I think they do have millions of users now. Still nowhere near YouTube, but yeah, it's not really decentralized if there's only one instance of it. And the documentation is this. And some stuff here. Yeah, I think they should provide a guide on how to set up your own instance of this, because else you're just using the branding and the trust you have with people who are interested in decentralized stuff to use it to just set up a centralized platform. How's the project going? Good. It's been a bit slow the last time because I had a lot of stuff with university, but it's getting along fine. Oh man, this was a detour again. I gotta stop doing 2-hour speeches because of a random message in chat. Okay, so let's get to it. I think we'll peek. Actually, why did I boot the live disk? I want to boot the hard disk. There it is. Still has the old notification style. Echo sleep 2 echo :B. This is blue. And remove the space. :Y. This is yellow. This is normal. :. So you don't like Odyssey because they censor. Weren't they meant to be an open platform? I mean, they don't censor library because they can't really. That's the purpose of it. And also another advantage of library is that it's really hard to monopolize, because it's just a single place where you can put video and anyone can set up an instance to mirror our video, and then if other people stream that video, then that instance says, hey, I have that video, and then streams it to the person who wants to watch it. So it's abstracting away the entire platform. Basically, at the end of the day, what you have is that you can build an application, a video streaming application built on library, which only needs to interact with library in the sense that it can request videos and it can post videos there, and it doesn't need to worry about a platform being in the back because there isn't really one. It's the only thing that we have that can compete with Google's infrastructure, because it's really, I think it's cool. IPFS is also really cool because it's content-based addressing. So instead of saying I want the first file that has this name on this and this server, and then the server streams it to you, and if the server says no or fucks you over, you can't do anything about it. Instead of that, you just say, I want this file. It has this identifier that only this file has, and then it says the network searches for it automatically and streams it to you wherever it's from. So the entire platform is abstracted away. You only care about the content, which is, in my opinion, what the internet should be. Platforms are just a means to an end, and the end is to consume content or to transfer information somewhere. The platform itself should not be the focus. And IPFS and library do have that potential to just abstract away platforms completely, and you just care about the videos and the files. And I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, because they censor. And that's the beauty of library. And the problem with Odysee is that it's kind of trying to move away from that, I feel like. Or, I remembered. Yeah, Odysee is a really user-friendly gateway to library. So you can, basically it's library running on their servers, and if you click a link on Odysee, in the backend, their server will fetch the stuff from the library protocol, from the library network, then convert it to a browser's friendly stream, and then stream it to you over HTTPS. So there's no library actually involved. And yeah, and my issue is a bit that Odysee itself brands itself as like this anti-censorship and blah blah blah. But if you really look at it, for some people, the issue isn't that they have the ability to censor, it's that they disagree with the people who right now have the ability to censor people, which is Google and Facebook and Twitter. So, yeah, Odysee should be careful not to fall into that. I think right now it's fine, but they shouldn't add too many Odysee-only features without the library protocol. Wait, you never knew that Odysee is supposed to be decentralized? Oh my god. Yeah, it seems like they do have a branding issue. So, yeah. For example, Parler. Parler is a huge pile of garbage because, one, it's a shitty platform. They don't have good tech. The user experience is not that of Google. And it's completely centralized. The issue that people that go on Parler have is not that Twitter was not elected to have the power that it does, and that there are people who just own the tech and are able to control what information you can see or send or receive. That's not their issue. They are fine with that. Their issue is that they disagree with the people in charge of Twitter. And as soon as the first place they run to is a complete copy of Twitter, which is centralized. The Parler admin can take down anyone they want. So they clearly don't have an issue with the structure of centralized web applications having so much control. They have an issue with them not wanting people planning insurrections on their platforms. A YouTube alternative that works on donations. Yeah, it's library. So what you can do is submit a video into the network. People can pick it up. People can host it. And it's impossible basically to control it, because if you have an audience, then a certain percentage of that audience will pick up your video and host it. So they watch the video, they think, oh, I like that video, and then they decide to host it on their computer. So if someone else decides to watch the video, then they just submit a request to the library network, which is everyone participating in it. And then the network figures out which computers have that video. And then each computer that has that video streams a piece of the video to that person, so that that person can piece the video back together then, and then watch the video. And the problem is, if each server that hosts these videos is not owned by any audience member, but instead they brand themselves in a way that people don't even know that it's supposed to be decentralized, then Odysee is still in control of the platform. If they're the only ones hosting stuff and they decide to take stuff down from their servers, then it's just gone. Like, yeah, I don't see anyone hosting another instance of Odysee, because they kind of intentionally, they don't care, make it hard to set up your own instance of Odysee. So if Odysee goes down, library has a problem. And if there are videos on library that only Odysee is hosting and no one else is participating in the decentralized version of the network, then it's gone. And basically what Odysee is like an IPFS gateway. IPFS is a protocol for distributing files. So if I IPFS add .bashrc, right now this is the hash of my bashrc. And if you go to the IPFS network and enter this hash, then the IPFS network will look for computers that have this file, will then find my computer, and my computer will send it to them because it just added it. So if you want my bashrc, request this hash from the IPFS network. And what some people have done, like Cloudflare, is that they set up gateways, which means basically Firefox doesn't support IPFS. If I do IPFS : this hash, nothing will happen. Brave does have IPFS support, and IPFS Desktop obviously has. But Firefox does not, so does Chrome, so do most applications. So what Cloudflare has done is that it set up a gateway, which basically means you can give Cloudflare the hash of the file, they will download it to their server and then send it to you over HTTPS. So it's a way to access files on IPFS without actually having any software capable of IPFS. You just need HTTP, because that's still the standard. That's based on locations instead of contents, which is really stupid, because if the location is down, then the content is gone. And basically what Odysee is like an IPFS gateway converting library to HTTP, and simultaneously also hosting, also seeding, if you will. It's not exactly torrenting. Torrenting is a lot more primitive than library. Library has a lot of stuff going on in the back to make it as easy to use as it is. But what Odysee is that it's the same thing. You give them a video that you want to watch. They download it from the library network on their server and then stream it to you. And if you upload a video on Odysee, they are putting it on their server and adding it to the library network. So if you request that video ID from the library network, that it will search around for PCs on the library network having that video, which is in this case just the Odysee server, because you uploaded it on the website. And then the Odysee server will stream it to you. The streaming server will download it from the library network, which in this case is just Odysee, and then stream it to you over HTTPS. And PeerTube is a different beast. I think library has more potential. PeerTube is too complicated for normies. Like, people don't want to go to different websites that look completely identical to watch videos. And content-based addressing, once you wrap your head around that each piece of content has an ID, and you can get that piece of content no matter what the network is up to, is actually a normie-friendly idea. IPFS is basically a kind of peer-to-peer. Yes, peer-to-peer and decentralized. That's the important part. Decentralized is, I think, by definition peer-to-peer. I'm not sure. But actually, it doesn't have... I don't know. But it is peer-to-peer and decentralized, and it has content-based addressing. Content-based addressing is the important bit. And PeerTube doesn't have content-based addressing, as far as I'm aware. PeerTube is basically self-hosted YouTube, and if you're watching a video, you're simultaneously also seeding it to other people also watching the video. The thing is, it's still dependent on the instance. If the instance goes down, then the video is gone. And it's location-based addressing. You go to an instance, a specific instance of PeerTube to watch the video, and it's not content-based addressing. So with PeerTube, let's see if we can find an instance. Gaby Weber documentaries. I don't know. If you look at this, this is location-based. It's requesting the video with this ID from peertube.dh. I think maybe PeerTube also has inter-instance communication. I'm not really sure. I don't think most instances do this. And never knew what hashes were for in PKG files. Hashing is really, really important. Basically, what hashing does is that it takes all the bits of a file and then computes a special kind of sum for it. Like a really simple hash is just adding up all the bits and then doing modulo something. So if my file has 2 bits that are 1, then my hash is 2. And obviously that's kind of a bad algorithm, but you can make a lot more complicated versions of that. One of them is called SAH256. And if I run that algorithm on my bash RC, it sums up all the bits in my bash RC and does some fancy math to it, and then this number comes out of it. This is, I think, a base 16 number. And the cool thing is that the chances of 2 different files going through the algorithm and coming up with the same number are so incredibly low that there's never been a hash collision of a known hash collision of any kind in the history of mankind. And probably never will be, even if we survive for another billion trillion years. So the probability of 2 hashes colliding is so negligible that we just assume that a hash is a unique identifier. So if you have this hash and you have a file and run it through the algorithm and it also puts out this file, then you can be sure it's the same. So each video gets a hash, and then you can request a file or a video with this hash, and then it will go through the network and search through all files and see if one of them is among them that has the hash that you're searching for. So if you have the hash of a file, you have a way to identify the file. No other file has this hash. That's also important for PKG files because it's for validation, basically. If the file is damaged and you run it through the hash function, it'll output a different number. So it'll ship the number and the file itself. Then it'll run the file through the algorithm and compare the number that comes out of the algorithm with the number that's expected to come out of the algorithm. So if a different number comes out, the file is damaged. And if the same number comes out, you can be sure it's the same file. And yeah, this hash, like if I submit, as you can see, IPFS uses a different kind of hash than SHA-256. This hash is shorter and I think has a prefix that means something. But basically, this is unique for this file. Actually, we can try it out right now. IPFS cat this. It was quick. So IPFS cat just asks the IPFS network to find the file with this hash. It'll find it on my PC, and because my PC is really close by, it'll not take very long. And then it'll output it to stdout. So this is my bash RC, and this was put out. Is there a limit for a hash string's length? The cool thing about hashes or really simple hashing algorithms is that you can just do modulo. So I think Python has modulo. I'm not sure. Does it? Yep, it does. So 5 modulo 2 means 5 divided by 2, and then put out the part that doesn't fit into 5. So 2 times 5 is 4, so there's one left over, and it then puts out 1. And this means that any number I put behind the modulo will be in a range between 0 and 5. Because if I were to put in 10 here, it fits into 5, so it's... what the fuck? Okay, Python arithmetic is probably really confusing. Why is it doing this? It's supposed to be 0. What? Why? Why is it 5? Why is this also? I'm confused. Or actually, is it? Am I supposed to put it here? Oh, of course, I'm stupid. Wrong order. So 10 divided by 5, and then the rest. So if I put 12 here, the rest will be 2 because 10 can be divided by 5, and then there's So basically, you put the hash through a modular, and then you are guaranteed to have a number that isn't longer than XYZ. That's why each file, no matter how long it is, will get the same. Actually, the InstantOS ISO is on IPFS. So if I... what am I doing? If I'm opening this in a terminal and do IPFS add InstantOS beta 6. Yeah, this is now adding up all the bytes in... it's not adding them up, it's a lot more complicated. But basically, it's computing all the bytes into that number. And because the file is 1.3 gigabytes, it takes a while. And then after that, it gives this number to the IPFS network. Basically, it says, I have a file that has this hash. And then if someone requests that hash, the IPFS network will figure out a way to connect that person to my computer. And then my computer will say, hey, I have a file that has this hash, and start sending the file to the other computer. And if my computer goes down, then the other person won't be able to get that file from IPFS anymore. But if someone else chooses to pin that hash to their computer, so it says to IPFS add and then the hash, then if someone requests the file from IPFS, it'll instead find the other person's computer and get the file from there. So as long as anyone is on IPFS at a time that has the file, IPFS will figure out a way to get the file from the person who has it to the person who wants it. Yeah, I think that's quite a... I don't know, maybe they should if they were ever to advertise IPFS to normies, maybe they should just call it figure out which person has the file, figure out which person wants the file, get the file to the person who wants the file. And do not worry about cloud bullshit and rate limits and blah blah blah. As long as there's someone out there to help you, they will. Doesn't that slow down your computer internet-wise? I don't think many people are. I mean, normally you're not supposed to run IPFS on a desktop computer. Like if you have a file that many people are downloading all the time, like, I don't know, a Git repository, a software download that's really more popular than InstantOS, then you shouldn't run it. But if we go to the InstantOS website, and actually I should just add the IPFS hash, I just realized, because relying on gateways is not good practice. If I copy this link location, this is the gateway, so you can download it through the browser. And this is the ISO hash. So this is on the InstantOS website, and if someone wants to help out the project, then they can just go to their IPFS instance, run a single command to add this to their IPFS server, and then if anyone wants to download the file, then they'll just get it from one of them. And because the hash is on the website, I think some people have actually gone ahead and added it to their instance. And same for the InstantOS mirror on IPFS, the package mirror. And so yeah, I have no idea who's hosting the InstantOS ISO. And because it's a hash, people can also not bullshit each other. Like if you have this hash and then request it from the IPFS network, and someone were to try to send you something malicious instead of the ISO, your IPFS client just runs the ISO that they got through the hashing algorithm. And if they get something different than the hash that they wanted, they know it's a different file. They know that they've been bullshitted, and they will reject. I'm sorry, I just drink something. So if you're getting a file from IPFS and someone sends you the wrong file, because you have the hash, you can verify if it's the file you wanted, and if it's not, then you can just delete it. And because people cannot mathematically bullshit each other on IPFS, they don't even attempt to, because it takes time and it's not successful. And IPFS also has a lot of other different advantages. For example, if you were to host a file, and that file happens to be the exact same file someone else is also hosting, because they have the same hash, if you request that file from IPFS, they will get it either from you and the people hosting your file, or from the other person who happens to host the same file. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and it just works. Another advantage is also if files are partially identical. So if someone happens to host a file where part of it is completely identical to part of the InstantOS ISO, and you download it from IPFS, it will download part of the ISO from that other person who also happens to host a file that's completely identical, that's partially identical. And it's a lot simpler, because right now how basically the Arch mirror system works is you can host a mirror, which is a complete copy of all the InstantOS software on a web server, and then I need to add that web server to the official mirror list. And if someone on InstantOS wants to download a piece of InstantOS software, like an update, then they go through that mirror list, choose one of it, from that mirror list and then attempt to download it from there. So it's a bunch of locations. But with IPFS, someone can set up a mirror and I don't even notice it. So I can just put the files out there and someone else can host a mirror, and they can't put anything malicious in the mirror because it's based on hashes. And it's great. I'm hoping IPFS takes off. The first step is Brave, already has it implemented. Brave has a lot of other useless crap. So Brave is always the first one to implement anything, but I'm hoping that Chrome gets IPFS support. That would be huge. And the way other platforms are getting around content-based addressing, I think, is something people want generally. They don't really care about platforms, they care about the content. And how other platforms get around that is YouTube does have a bunch of servers. And if you request a YouTube video from YouTube, it will redirect, or it will grab that video from one of the servers of YouTube that has it. And it's basically a simulated content-based addressing, but instead you're relying on that server from YouTube that will get it from one of the many servers on YouTube and get it to you. So if YouTube goes down, you're still screwed. It's like torrenting. It's a bit like torrenting, yeah. Torrenting is a lot more complicated and cannot be integrated into different applications. Also, with torrenting, you're expected to seed any file you're downloading. IPFS can be used to build upon. You can use IPFS to do basically, you can do it for a lot of things. Torrenting is just for pirating and distributing files. And IPFS is a lot easier to use because of the content-based addressing. With torrenting, you're still depending on a lot of different things, and torrenting is like a precursor basically to IPFS. How does updating work with IPFS? Right now, it's working using a gateway. A web server that downloads stuff from IPFS and then passes it to you over HTTP, which is not ideal. One thing I did want to implement sometime, it's kind of gimmicky right now because IPFS is not that huge and InstantOS isn't either. But one thing that is possible is to host your local gateway. So Pacman cannot do IPFS. Pacman can only do HTTP downloading. Which means that you can't just put an IPFS folder inside of the Pacman mirror list. But what you can do is host your own gateway. So you send an HTTP request to the server. The server runs IPFS, downloads the file via IPFS, and then sends it back to you over HTTP. And what you can do is set that server up on your own PC. So that Pacman sends a request to localhost, 500, 5000, localhost 5000. And that is actually the IPFS program that then downloads it through IPFS and then passes it on to Pacman over HTTP through localhost, which would definitely work. IPFS right now, it can be a bit RAM hungry because right now IPFS is a bit server oriented. So like you have a client that requests stuff from IPFS, and then you have a server that has stuff that sends it to clients that want it. And then it caches stuff, basically. I think if I look at my bottom right now, you can see IPFS is actually using 1.3% of my CPU and 4% of my memory, because it is caching part of the ISO that I added, and maybe someone is downloading the ISO right now, so it's already piecing that stuff together so that when people want the ISO, they can get it. So the default Go implementation is a bit more on the heavier side. It's very functional. But yeah, I mean, most Windows services are probably heavier than IPFS, or a Linux service, that is. But yeah. Did you set up a Pacman hook thingy to automatically launch or shut down the local server? I think I can definitely integrate it into Instant Update. That would definitely work. About Pacman, I'm not sure if it's considered okay to start systemd services through through Pacman. I think it might be working. Yeah, I mean the hook could also check if the hook could check if the IPFS mirror is being accessed in the first place, and then could go from there. But that's a good idea, actually. To do. I'm turning into just talking streamer, but I'm having fun. Just rambling. Do I already have something IPFS related? Instant tools, host repo, local gateway for updating from IPFS. But yeah, like imagine the utopia where everyone will be using IPFS instead of HTTP. Like if there would be no Arch mirrors, no Debian mirrors, no repos. There was just the Debian thing is out there, and you can just download it from somewhere and not care about anything. It's just in the ether. Like my grandma thought the internet was like. For my grandma, it's really funny. The internet is basically invisible. It's either underground or in server farms or behind behind furniture with a lot of cables. Yeah, she basically thought everything was everywhere all the time, and devices just needed to grab stuff out of the ether to get it on there because it's basically magic. And IPF is that actually. The internet is just there, and you can get stuff from it. How would one find the content ID? There is currently a system called IPNS. IPNS is basically a redirect system. So what you can do is get an address that's also a randomly generated string, and that redirects to a hash. And what I can do basically, I don't know if there's an example. Actually, I do have an example. It's the Instant mirror. It's a mirror list. I think there's nope. There it is. This one. Yeah, that's kind of oh Jesus. What's happening there at IPNS? Let's try Cloudflare. I think actually no one is hosting the mirror at this time. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what you have here is this IPNS address. Basically what I did is I generated a key, just like with SSH, that has this as the public key. And what I can do is that I can publish publish a hash to the IPNS. IPNS is based on IPFS. It's also completely decentralized and everything. What I can say is that this address should then point to the hash that is this HTML file. And I can publish that to the IPNS network and then sign it with my key. So that if someone looks up this address on the IPNS network, they will see that this address is supposed to redirect to the hash that is this index.html file. And that has a huge advantage that I can change the address. Because it's signed by my key, if someone were to submit to the IPNS network this public key and then say, no, this public key is actually supposed to redirect to evil.com, then people would reject that because it's not signed. Signing is basically that you signing is basically just that you have a secret key, like a secret password, and you can use that password to prove that you approve of a file. So if I sign this ISO, which I'm actually going to, if I sign this ISO with my private key, with my secret password, then you can see that this has my approval. You can use my public key to verify it, and you can see that the person who has my secret password owns this file or has approved this file. And that's the cool thing, that it makes files mutable. So if I decide I want to update this file because it's a new file, it has a new hash. If I modify this index.html file and then run it through the hash function again, there will be a different number in the output, which means if people request the same hash as it was before, then they will get the same file, because only that file has that hash. If they want to get the new file, they need to get the new hash. That's a problem, because then we need to get a source of the hashes. And we can't put them on IPFS either, because it's immutable. If I have a list of hashes and I change that list, then the hash of the list of hashes changes as well. And that's IPNS, basically. I have a public key that always has the information which hash the author wants you to see. So this is the public key, and I right now want you to see this file. And if I publish a new information, which file I want you to see, then I just say to the IPNS network, I am the owner of the private key that corresponds to this public key, and I want people to be redirected to another hash. And yeah, it's IPNS, it's a play on DNS, it's a naming system. And the old files would still be available, the people would be aware that the new file exists. Exactly. So you're also not able to take down any old files. Eventually people might stop hosting the old files in favor of the new files. But what you can do is basically, what I have done with the InstantOS mirror, set up an IPNS file, set up an IPNS entry that points to all of this is hosted on IPFS. So if I click this, it'll go, Cloudflare will go to IPFS, request Paperbash, then download it to their server, and then when it's done with that, it'll pass it on to me over HTTP. And if I want you to, if I wanted to update it, I also need to update the IPNS address to point to something different. That's IPFS. Anything else? I think IPFS also has a bunch of stuff that's right now still in development that would allow live streaming data. So you can basically have like a chat app based on IPFS. So you have a channel that also has a hash, a group channel, a group chat, and then you can submit a message to that group chat. The group chat just exists in the ether. It's just there. As long as there's some computer out there running it, it exists. And then if you send a message to the address of that chat, then it gets added to that chat. Other people can see it who are also in the chat. And it's basically Discord that exists nowhere and everywhere at the same time. And anyone can host it. You can, of course, also on top of that encrypt files using SSL or anything else. IPFS is by default end-to-end encrypted. So files that are traveling through the network are encrypted, but the nodes that host the file can read the file. So you'd have to encrypt it before submitting it to IPFS. And yeah, hosted by the people using it. And if you notice that the chat room is slowing down, you can just ask a few more people to add this chat room to their IPFS node. Your mic has a very warm sound. What kind of mic is it? It's a Blue Snowball, actually. $70 mic. I think Blue Snowball Special Edition something. IPFS is basically a torrent. It's a torrent in the sense that it's based on the same principles, but the execution is so much better, so much more than just torrenting. Like, yeah, torrenting also has a bad rap. I don't think people would be open, but it's a lot more than a torrent. The protocol is a lot more flexible and a lot less old school. Like, I think torrent is good to redistribute files that no one wants to centrally host and no one wants to take full accountability for, like pirating. IPNS has no equivalent, yes. I think you need people hosting lists of the torrents and stuff like that. I hope it will get more popular. Superpowered peer-to-peer file sharing. Yeah, it's not just file sharing, it's peer-to-peer internet connectivity. Sounds like a torrent. I mean, yes, kind of. But torrents also don't have, they don't have content-based addressing. I think that's the big thing. With torrents, you need to get the .torrent file, and I think torrents also need to have some kind of name server in between people to connect them. And IPFS doesn't rely on any of that. Like, anyone can also set up different nodes that discover different nodes. Like, basically I think how torrents work is, actually, let's look that up. I don't want to say anything wrong. BitTorrent. It's what's it called? I think torrent does need some kind of server in between people to connect peers to another. I don't know. Is someone familiar with torrenting here? Distributed trackers. That's what they're called. What are torrent trackers? That assists in the communication between peers using the BitTorrent protocol. Yeah. So trackerless torrents have largely become redundant, still often included with torrents to improve speed. Okay, so BitTorrent actually does have distributed hash tables. That's cool. But yeah, what IPFS I think does, you still have to wait for people to host it. Yes, basically. But torrenting is different in the sense that if different torrents share parts of a file, they can't be shared. It's not this huge blob of stuff where just stuff exists. distributed hash table is. IPFS does too, but it has some cool functionalities. Basically, for example, if you run an IPFS node, it'll check for other nodes on the same network. So if I have two other nodes, if I have two different devices on my local network, both running IPFS, they will find each other and then help each other out in communicating. And if some other node has access to my node and has also access to other nodes that are external, then it can also generate connections with those, which means that it's automatically building like a net interconnecting every node with each other. Serverless S3 storage. Yes, that's also. I think, yeah, one of the big things missing from torrenting is definitely IPNS. Things are immutable, and that's a problem if you want to completely rely on it. Instant WM's bar could look much better in my opinion. Check a status 2D patch for Chad WM on GitHub. Is Chad WM another instant, another DWM? Psyduck. Oh, that looks suspiciously familiar. That profile. Chad. There it is. Chad WM. I mean, the bar has, as far as I can tell, nerd font icons. It has different color scheme. I chose to have the highlights actually another color. I think InstantWM has everything this bar has, to be honest. Like, the icons are also slightly off center, just like yours. Status 3D patch. Oh, I have this patch. I mean, it's being used right here to generate the different colors. I have a version of this patch applied to InstantWM. I think I applied it even when it was still just a DWM fork, or still just a customized version of DWM, and not as much of as much original code in there. But I do want to utilize it more, to include icons and stuff on the bar. As far as this actually looks pretty good with the rectangles in the background. I could maybe, yeah, I think I would have to make the bar larger, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, to be honest. It's still massively more screen space saving than like Windows, GNOME, macOS. So yeah, as for this color scheme, maybe I'll revise that sometime. Bar with gaps. Gaps? You mean like the margins here? Yeah, gaps are a difficult topic. I think, yeah, or not actually difficult. It's just that I would like to implement them once some other things are also fixed in InstantWM, because if I implement them now, it will become harder to fix those other problems in InstantWM. That's why we don't have them yet. How's the QEMU KVM performance on InstantOS. Is it possible to pass through a GPU to the virtual machine? QEMU, it's fine, definitely, just like Arch or most Arch-based distros. Nothing special there, and it's been pre-installing the drivers needed to have the virtualized GPU for a while now, so you are having access to all performance that QEMU can offer you. But QEMU generally has some problems with desktop. So I have heard of persons on the Discord that they were running InstantOS inside of a QEMU virtual machine. And it was apparently pretty good. They were even lower spec than my computer, and my computer has some problems with QEMU. I think it's because of Ryzen. The virtualized graphics cards of QEMU don't perform well on Ryzen. I don't know why. Maybe Intel has some kind of magic acceleration hardware technology. If you pass through a GPU, it's probably near native. Passing through a GPU basically solves all the problems with QEMU. Ah, Ray is actually running it. And I think he has Intel. I'm not sure. But I'm on Ryzen, NVIDIA, and virtual GPU support is horrible. GPU is very tolerable, the performance penalty for virtualizing stuff. And the VirtualBox GPU is also completely fine. I mean, this is very, very acceptable performance. But QEMU performs nowhere near that well on the same hardware. And with different distros, it's not just InstantOS. Like Manjaro also runs much, much worse on QEMU with my computer. Yep, Intel. $32 GB of RAM. Oh, okay. I thought you dedicated that much. 248 is also fine. Can we blah 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 blah. I've been talking for too long. Can we resize the bar in my PC? I have a small monitor and it's big. You can resize it through X resources. I assume you mean to make it less to make it have less height. So, but you can also hide it. If you are really worried about screen real estate, something different, then in my opinion, you're better off hiding it, I think. But actually, do we have that on the docs? There it is. InstantWM.bar height. If it's bar height of 2, then it'll add just 2 pixels to the height of the font. And I think default is 6 or something like that. And if you make it 24, then it'll look like this. So yeah, it's documented on the new documentation. GNOME boxes works great. Boxes. Let's try it. Because Word Manager doesn't. It had a couple of unhandled errors in Python, so it doesn't handle errors very well. I mean, it has a lot of features and stuff, and I guess it's a way to make QEMU somewhat user-friendly, but VirtualBox just is a lot more polished and on a different level in that regard. Boxes. To GNOME boxes. Ooh, I think this is supposed to be a circle. Holy crap, this is fancy. Okay, Express installation, easy downloads, drag and drop. Cool. And now I just need to... Oh my god, it has touch support. Isn't this GTK4? Am I using GTK4 right now? Doesn't look like it. New. Detect the sources. operating system image file. Unknown OS Arch. Next. I mean, so far it's prettier than Word Manager, that's for sure. Resource allocation. Ooh, I think it's it crashed. Why? Oh, no. Is it alive? Is it possible to make an IPFS Git repo? I think it is. All of the wrapper tools are still very early on in development because IPFS is quite new. I think it was started in 2015. I saw you install Drakensang online. I can't see the cursor in the game. Yes, exactly the same issue, and that's why I'm not playing it. Actually, I never was really playing it, but I was playing it like years and years ago. So I wanted to revisit it for a bit of nostalgia, and turns out they don't care about Linux. So, I mean, it used to be a browser game, and now they just killed that. Okay, maximum disk size, 21 gigabytes. Failed to start. I mean, that's always good to hear. Did it just take? No, it didn't. Oh god. What's happening? Yeah. What? Well, so much for user friendliness. Ooh. Oh, never mind. And I think it's crashing again. Yeah. QEMU, it might be good if you set it up properly, but by God, it's not, they don't make it easy for you. Brings back the Windows XP memories. Yeah, the magic of not having a compositor enabled. Oh, you're not allowed to say shit, but you are allowed to say kill it. Amazing. As long as you paraphrase your genocidal murder speeches, you can say them on YouTube. Just don't say any keywords and they'll block you. Okay, I think we should actually get to work on some stuff I had planned. Okay, so we have this. This is normal, and then we have red. This is red. Spooky warning. Instant menu -L. 20. What happened? Okay. Cool. And wait, we're doing a coding stream, yes. I think I should have I think I should have, I don't know, YouTube doesn't have just chatting, I think it's called on Twitch. But the stream is titled coding stream, I think. Actually, how well is the stream doing? I haven't checked that at all through the entire stream. And I think I closed down the YouTube thing. Where is it? 13 viewers. I mean, not too bad. And 11 likes. I think that's a pretty good ratio. Actually, there's one dislike. Who was it? Is that person still here? Do you want to fight me? Okay, which one did I screenshot now, actually? The red one, okay. I'll just make a new folder. Test, instant menu, put that stuff in here. This is red. Then we don't have a green one, crap. Eh. Hmm. This is green. Test.sh. Bash test.sh. There we go. Now we should have a better menu. Okay. First one, blue. Second one, yellow. Third one, green. Okay. And now we get those beautiful screenshots. Delete the red one. And maybe show the example text. Are these colors configurable, themable? Yes, I think they are. Someone else submitted an X-Resources patch. It's hard to read with a green background. That's kind of true, yes. Green is from the... Jesus, my brain. Green is from the Arc theme. The entire InstaNoise theming is centered around the Arc theme because that's second to Adwaita. I don't know. It's the second most popular theme after Adwaita, and yeah, it's also a GTK is the most popular toolkit on Linux. So just to have stuff look consistent, I went with the Arc colors. Green is too bright. Yeah. The colors definitely should get an overhaul sometime. I didn't put too much thought into them. Okay, where's my Vim gone? Python. I think, oh, there it is. Okay. Seriously? Not, oh. Second monitor, there it is. Color specifiers and example. The code is shell script. And it was, actually we could try out a new feature right now, which is OCR. Oops. It was in R. So let's hope this works. Oh no. Definitely didn't. I think it's because it's kind of text. That syntax There we go. Let's try that again. It also doesn't work well on inverted text. Dot color scheme. I mean, at this point, we're just better off doing it without crazy color schemes. Is there not a light scheme and a light color scheme on NeoVim for default? We just rewrite it. Shame. I don't know why there are no good OCR libraries. I'd really appreciate Google putting more work into Tesseract. But I mean, I guess they want people to use Google Lens. But for example, if you use it on white text, on black text on white background, it works really well. Hello, this is an example. And now if I try to recognize it using OCR, it'll do this. So definitely works, but I have no idea why inverted colors are so difficult for it. Final question. Did you convert your inner.vim to Lua? No. Not yet, because one, I don't know Lua, and two, I think it's still missing some features, actually. I don't want to leave Vim plug yet. I think Vim plug doesn't have a Lua interface. And I think only recently something was merged to actually set options inside the Lua config. So the cursor, yeah, it's a pipe symbol. So yeah, I'll definitely migrate at some point, because if it's faster and Lua is definitely more widely adopted than VimScript, why not? I also am exclusively using NeoVim and not Vim anymore. So yeah, I'll definitely do it at some point. Monka S. What is Monka S, by the way? I have no idea. Sometimes I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to Twitch. Frightened Pepe. Nice SSL. 4chan, oh no. I'm not reading that. Frightened Pepe is enough. Go. The B this is blue. This is and I'll just copy this a few times. Y, red, green. This is normal. This is yellow. This is red. This is green. This is normal. Which editor is that? This is NeoVim, or for short, NVim. Oh, what instance is that? This is SR. Let's try it on the YouTube chat, actually. Maybe it was the monospace. Oh, I think it's having issues with monospace, actually. Why, though? Kinda missed an eye there. Okay, now let's go upload all that stuff to Imager. Where's a good place to upload images? blue, red, normal, which happens to also be blue, green, gremlin, yellow. Perfect. And then we copy the image location, which is the link in this case. I think it was like this. I hope. Let's check. There was some error there. Which one was it? No, oh, no, it worked. What's the issue? I don't know. Problem for future me. How did I miss that being implemented? No. Okay, blue. Second one is yellow. Where is the NeoVim? There is the NeoVim. Yellow. This definitely... I just need to add an I to the imgur. i.imgur.com png. I think this should be it. And now it reloads the page. And it's completely screwed up. Why? Why did you do this? Did I do something wrong? What happens if I delete the yellow one? Whoops. Doesn't actually comment stuff. It used to work before. I don't get what the issue is. What? Huh. Interesting. Why? This is the yellow one. And this is the blue one. Yeah. I don't know. Come on. Copy image location. What happens if we do this and then reinsert the thing here? Blue. Huh. Okay. Why? Why is this happening? It worked before. Is uBlock Origin interfering with anything? Nope. I think I'll just let it like this, and maybe it'll fix itself once it's on GitHub Pages. Serve it again. Wait, what? The image got taken down? No, what the actual... It's back now. Huh. What do you use for the site? It's called mkdocs. It's just Markdown and a static site generation. I think it's written in Python. Yep. Okay, seems sort of fine. That means yellow. And blue. Blue, indeed. Next one is green. And red. I think normal is first. Ah, shit. Wrong one. View image. Copy image location. Whoops. There it is. And the last one is red. This has got to be one of the dumbest ways to put images on a website. Hello, fellow power users. Hope you have a great day. You too. I don't know how powerful I am, but doing my best. Bad. Whoops. It's refusing to insert this for some reason. Oh, there it is. Thoughts about Steam Deck? I think it's pretty cool, actually. I mean, of course, it's huge news that they get anti-cheat to work. They're attempting 100% Proton Proton compatibility. Basically, it's there to give them a financial incentive for Proton. I think it was the plan all along. Like Steam machines were a first attempt, and then they realized people didn't want to port to Linux natively, and that means that they came up with Proton and planned the Steam Deck. And Proton is Steam Deck is their way of monetizing Proton, which is pretty cool because they're getting money by not caving into Microsoft. One problem some people have is that they actively discourage or seem to discourage native Linux ports actually, because Proton is a controlled environment and they can adjust it for Steam Deck. And if people were to create native experiences that maybe take advantage of native features, I don't know. I think they're still fine with Linux ports, but they're really scared to tell people to port their game to Linux, because as soon as they start doing that, developers will go, oh, red flag, it's another Steam machine, it's an overpriced computer with a crappy Linux operating system, we don't want to have anything to do with it. It's the Steam controller, Steam machine all over again. So they're really, really scared to mention native games. So it's pushing even further away from native Linux games. But I think once the Steam Deck becomes successful, and I think it already has become really, really successful, interest in porting games to Linux natively will rise again anyway, because people will just want their game to run well on the Steam Deck because a lot of people buy it. Messaging developers that native Linux support. Yeah, that's probably also because some developers just take advantage of the cross-platform capabilities of the engine. So if they're using Unreal or Unity, you can just push a button to export it to everything, including your toaster. Doesn't mean it'll work on those machines necessarily. I think that's the problem. So now they're actually interested financially in the Linux gaming market, which means crappy Linux ports will give the Steam Deck a bad rep. But what I don't really understand if they notice that a game has a Linux port and it's really crappy compared to how it runs on Proton, why don't they just default the Steam installation to Proton instead of native? And then tell the developer to fix their stuff, and then they'll switch default to native again. I think that would be a better solution to get rid of crappy Linux ports. But I don't know. I mean, I probably should have bought one if just to resell it on eBay. I think these things are also going to be really, really expensive and hard to come by. I think they're already sold out till the third quarter of 2022 or something insane. Okay. Next, way too long rambling segment over. Last picture will be inserted as read. Amazing. Okay, no, actually, I don't think that. Okay, I think we can commit that. Markup, color. Actually, no. We need to still do this. Otherwise, it'll look like it won't work. The servers died instantly when they announced it. They're back up now, definitely. But I think I also heard that they had definitely had server problems. I mean, they're not completely dead. You don't completely crash a server and then it's gone. Or actually, you can, but I don't think that was the case. It was the case that like 99% of requests to the server could not be answered because it was already at full capacity. Or maybe someone was trying something malicious and managed to crash them. Will you port InstaNoise to the Raspberry Pi 4? I use the Raspberry Pi 4 on a daily basis and progress of making CyberDick. I will port it to Raspberry Pi, definitely. Someone started a port of it and then I think disappeared from the project. So I think I'll have to pick that up eventually or just start from scratch because some choices were a bit odd. Maybe they were all right. I don't know a lot about ARM development. But I do have a Raspberry Pi 3. But yeah, I have a Raspberry Pi 3, a Raspberry Pi 4. I think can get pretty expensive. The MSRP for those is always a lot lower than the price you can get them for in Germany. Maybe they're getting scalped away even before the chip shortage. They were always a lot more expensive than what they were advertising. And I don't really have a practical use for a Raspberry Pi, to be honest. Like I can use my Raspberry Pi 3 for something if I need a server or something, and it does that just as well as a Raspberry Pi 4 would. If I want a file server or IPFS node or something like that. Oh, how about some iMenu documentation? Okay. There is the iMenu. There's already some help stuff in here, so maybe I can just be lazy and copy it as a table, maybe. Whoops. Title. iMenu is wrapper around instant menu that allows fast creation of common types of user interfaces using instant menu. And then just be lazy and do this. This needs to go. Usage. Example. iMenu-m. This is a test message. Whoops. Accidentally quitted. And then also a nice little picture, because it works so well inserting them. Leap2 and iMenu-m. This is a test message. Then go into the pictures folder again. Upload it to Imager. Come on. Copy the location. Example message. Perfect. And I think now we can commit. instant menu, documentation. I meant them messaging developers to switch to Proton instead. I can see why they did it. Aiming developing for a constantly moving target with no backwards compatibility is a silly notion. I'm not too invested in the gaming thing. Okay, first item done. I think that took long enough. Actually, how's my RAM doing? I think I'm opening too many tabs. Ah, that's fine. Okay, archive this. Instant settings XCG needs a few more entries. And that's default config editor. Okay. File types, plain text, gedit. org.gnome.gedit. Okay. So what I'm doing now is that we do have this default application setting in the instant settings menu, and right now it only affects the InstantOS internal default system. So it'll be the default browser here will be the default browser every time InstantOS attempts to open a browser. Like if you want to read the documentation, or if it's for the getting started YouTube video, everything InstantOS specific opens that browser. But for example, if you open a browser from Discord, it'll still use the XDG default. And what I'm doing now is writing configs so that if I select the browser here, it'll also be the default browser if I open a link from Discord or any other application. Gedit xg:org.gnome.gedit. Package is gedit, and command is gedit as well. And we have Pluma left. Ah, Pluma is just Pluma. Okay, makes sense. Pluma xcg Pluma. Actually, xcg : default command : package : non-a Pluma. Why didn't that work? Ah, there we go. Pluma and code. Visual-Studio-Code. I think that's actually the binary version though. So that might not be accurate. Ooh. If I uninstall Visual Studio Code bin really quick. Is it still called Visual Studio Code then? Code-OSS. Okay. Oops. xcg : code OSS package is code. Command is also code. And I'm really sorry, but I prefer code bin. I need extensions. If I use it, when I use it. I don't use it very often. I tried GitHub Copilot recently in Visual Studio Code, which is pretty interesting, but it's way too aggressive with predictions, and they're most likely wrong and at most times. I prefer tab 9, to be honest. Like, it would be useful if it worked, but it kind of doesn't. And GPT-3 doesn't look like it's improving. It's like a static model that they got lucky. Anyway. Editor. GVim. Do I have GVim? Do. GVim. That's also called GVim. Do I have Neovide in here? It's also just called this. Okay, maybe I need to implement a way to not give everything a config file if it's just literally the name everywhere. Well, already exists. Okay. Cool. I think that's it, actually. So we have this for the text editor. Oh, almost forgot. Default, where is it? Select editor. Where is it? There it is. You need to give this text/plain. On what did you try the Copilot on? It was a Rust project, Immersit actually. So maybe it's not too familiar with Rust. JavaScript probably works really good, really well. Rust kind of doesn't. I mean, it didn't try to insert anything in other programming languages, which is good. But at some point it tried to add an author comment, which had some random person's name. And some of the stuff it suggested was just completely wrong. Like, if it's not literally boilerplate code you can find in one Google search on Stack Overflow, it's probably some kind of bullshit that looks legit, just like most of what GPT-3 produces. But I don't know, maybe it'll get better. But so far, I don't know anyone actually using it to work. I think also isn't it kind of aggressive with opening new lines? I think it's kind of jarring if you type something and suddenly all of the text below it just moves down because it thinks you want to write some huge function, even though you were just doing a one-liner. So here it's text/plain, and where's file manager? inode/directory. Oh, cool. I think file managers are mostly there. Yes, they are. Add RxDG settings to default apps. Go. Second item done. 5. Okay. Settings, do not pre-select header. This is kind of, I don't know. Do they all have a header? That is the question. I think search all is also using sidebar. How exactly would I do this? I think I do have a pretty good man page now for instant menu. Yep. Pre-select is the option I'm looking for. Now, how best to implement that? Bash if string starts with. I'm kind of hesitant to just grab stuff out of the sidebar thing because it's another call to a binary, which I would like to avoid. What's going on here? Do I not need any quotes? Probably aimed more at the coding side of programming, brain dead web development. Hi again. Hi. Okay. So vec equals bruh dash test.sh. I mean, yeah, it's kind of obvious. What is this? I just had this pop-up in my recommended list. No clue what's going on. Oh, cool. I think you're the first person who didn't discover me through already knowing me. Praise be the YouTube algorithm. Welcome. I'm the developer, the main developer / maintainer / founder of a Linux distro called InstantOS, which I'm developing right now on stream. Also, I'm using InstantOS right now. So yeah, this is the website for the distro. I can do fancy stuff. Yeah. But right now I'm trying to learn some stuff in Bash. I don't know how familiar you are with development. That you got me in your recommended. What are you doing now? Yes, I'm trying to wait, what? Heber, did you lie to me? It is pre-selecting the search all. Why is it doing this? I actually have no idea. It is pre-selecting search all. But why? And it doesn't even have pre-select. I'm confused. Why is pre-selecting search all? So if I now go into display settings, it's pre-selecting the header. Okay. For some reason. Huh. Okay. Hmm. Yep, that's the weird part. It just does it here. And there's no mention of the pre-select thing either. Whoops. Do we need to escape this? Okay, this is just HTTPS. Hmm. Okay. Should we just do this and okay. It has this. Sidebar. Sidebar. Hmm. Mostly use Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Ah, it worked probably. Or I don't know, for some reason personal. Okay, it might just be the most simple solution to make it pre-select the first item always. Because it almost always has this header. I think the only case where it doesn't have the header is in the search all option. And I mean, you're going to type in there anyway. By the way, I looked into how to make Z shell autocompletion files. I don't know if you looked into it. Autocompletion is here. For BTM or what exactly? Are you referring to? At home, because I use it because it sticks to the same kernel for ages with backports. Allows me to compile ZFS against the same kernel for a long time. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's not the cool kids distro, but I mean, you seem to have a reason for using it, which is more than a lot of people can say for using Arch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Wait a sec. Oh, geez, my OBS. Um. I think it should be fine again now. Oh, I know that there's like shell files that they use for auto completions. Actually, I do want to autocomplete definitely Immersit at some point, but it might be that the Rust library can auto generate those, which would be pretty cool. And instant menu also would be nice to have an auto completion file. Nix is for declarative configuration. Declarative is cool, definitely. I need the AUR. That's what keeps me on Arch and Arch based, basically. And Pacman is fast, which is also a nice bonus. I don't know why T-Pope deprecated Q in the Git window. I don't, yeah, why? I mean, now Q is unbound. Are you happy? But maybe there's a Vim technical reason. I trust him. Okay. Dash PS1 and also dash PS1. Actually, let's just put it in the same spot for consistency's sake. I'm waiting for it to get to the official repos in 1.0. I don't know. I think Confuse and the other guy. What was the name? The French guy. Oh no, he's been gone from Discord so long. Confuse and Scott set up a binary cache for instant Nix, which you can use if you don't want to build everything. But yeah, I don't know what the application process for Nix is, and generally Nix is a whole different beast. But we could try getting it in the official repos eventually. I should also upload it to the AUR at some point. It got removed because it didn't call it -git. So maybe we can get in the official alt repos at some point as well, which would be pretty cool. I think I have a make file. Yep. Okay. Oh no. Why is it now pre-selecting the wrong one? Okay, here it's fine here now. But for some reason, why? For some reason, it pre-selects the wrong one on the default page now. Why? Actually, I have an idea on how to make it configurable even. Sidebar index :-1, which defaults to 1 if there's no sidebar index. Same thing here. There we go. And now what we can do is on the first call of sidebar, there it is. Sidebar index, sidebar index equals 0, unset sidebar index. So now we have a temporary selection at 0. Export if you want to. And now we can also fix the search all thing. Search all, there it is. Sidebar. And same thing here. Index. And now we should be good to go. Okay, this is working fine again. And this is also working now. This is also working. Perfect. Whoops. I mean, that's Instant Pacman. But it seems to be working. By the way, I should have noise cancelling enabled. It's not noise cancelling, it's noise suppression. Basically the same thing. But, oh, can I put my chat in there? That's not the chat. I don't know what that was. When I'm typing, you should be unable to hear it. Let's try it again while monitoring the thing. Perfect. When I'm typing, nothing is blasting your ears with mechanical keyboard noise. How frequently does it break? Using InstaNoise as a daily driver didn't break once for me. Yeah, I mean, Pepper is also building for master all the time, which is brave. But there are no really breaking bugs in the sense that the window manager doesn't start anymore, or that file loss has never been a thing. There's no major breakages. Maybe some breakage would be like notifications looking wrong or something like that. So if you're okay putting up with that and occasionally hopping into the terminal to fix it, if it bothers you, you can just work with the breakages for some time. Like it's nothing major. Then you can use it, but the things like some things are still subject to change, like config files, config syntax. Config syntax, actually not. I'm planning on using Toml, and the rest is also X resources won't change. But some things are still subject to change. But it doesn't really break in the sense of Manjaro. It just refuses to boot after an update. Also, that's mostly the fault of Arch. Well, slipping into German. Oh, Jesus. Eberwurscht. But the Manjaro breakages are mostly the fault of bad integration with Arch. Okay, I have this archived, this archived, and this archived. Last item for today is fixing the installer canceling feature, because it's kind of broken. Part of the installer still remains even if you cancel the install, which is not great. And let's see if we can hop into a virtual machine and figure out why. Thingy not worky. Thingy worky better than thingy not worky. So we make thingy worky inside VM. Close this down now. Close all of this. This can definitely go. Oh, almost forgot. Actually, deploying the site is a good idea. There we go. We don't need this. Now we have... Oh! This was still there. I just killed Discord, I realized. I'm using Flatpak because the native version has some problems sometimes. But actually, I think the problems are only on MSI Ryzen boards. I've never seen any of those problems on other hardware on the same operating system. Okay, where's the installer? Oof. Okay. Now, if we download this, actually this might have to be fixed in live utils, I just realized. Crap. Oh, you can't even see it. No problems with Discord here. Yes. A friend of mine has pretty much the exact same hardware, like first gen Ryzen with an MSI board, and the exact same problems with Discord. Like it used to be really, really bad. You basically, as soon as you joined a call, the entire audio went to shit. I've never seen that problem anywhere else, but it's really common with NVIDIA and that Ryzen. I don't know what the combination is, but I've never seen that problem anywhere else, and it's always Discord. Happened on Ubuntu, happened on Arch, Manjaro, InstantOS. And it's only Discord. That's the weird thing. Discord is using WebRTC, so it's the technology built into Chrome. Basically, there's nothing new or special about Discord. It's just using Chrome. But weirdly enough, it's the only application causing those issues, while other WebRTC-based applications don't have the same issue. I don't know. Discord is pretty bad from a technical standpoint. Everything lags. Like, for example, if I use Element. I don't know if I want to show you my DMs. Let's see if I can hide some of it. Ah, there it is. If you use Element, switching between channels is actually quite fast. Like, compare this speed, including all the images and the extension, which Discord doesn't have, to this. There's always this sluggishness to Discord. I don't like it. Like, why not a native client? You definitely have the money. I was using Manjaro, I had a lot of issues. This is because it holds its updates, and when you update 100 at the same time, it'll break. That's actually not the case. The problem with Manjaro is skipping updates is a bad idea on Arch, because Arch has these .install files inside the packages, which means that packages can choose to run a shell script whenever they're installed or updated. And that means that if one of those install files happens to rely on the previous install file also being run on the same system, and you skipped an update, then suddenly you're running an updater script on a version that it's not supposed to run at, which can cause problems. Usually it doesn't with Arch because developers are aware of this. But what Manjaro has is this package called Manjaro-system. You've probably seen it. It's the first package that gets updated if an update is available. What it does is it uses those .install script capabilities, but in a lot more aggressive way. Like to change stuff about the drivers, about the bootloader, about the mirror lists, about keys. Actually, for the keyring, they have a separate package. But like if Manjaro, I don't know what version they're at, 20, if you're on Manjaro 20 and you update this Manjaro-system package, it'll run a script to change all the config to match that of Manjaro 21. If you're on Manjaro 20, Manjaro 21 comes out and you miss it because you don't update, and then Manjaro 22 comes out and you update, then you're suddenly running the upgrade script that's supposed to upgrade Manjaro 21 to 22. You're running it on Manjaro 20, which can cause problems if it relies on stuff being there that's not there in 20 because it's expecting 21. It means if you miss out on updates on Manjaro, it can end badly. And usually, like, the chance of this happening is 1 to 100. Problem with that is you are doing 100 updates with Manjaro, and then it might be happening. And even with that chance, then one of I don't know how many people can get a broken installation. I only hear bad stuff about Manjaro. Why do people use it? Why is it popular even in advanced communities? I think Pamac is a decent piece of software, definitely. I've heard bad stuff about it with security, and I think if you have, it used to be the case that if you have a DB log file, so let's see, if I do yay, and then do yay-s dolphin, for example, you can see that it waits with executing pacman because this file exists. Pacman creates this file when it runs and deletes it when it's finished. That means that if I start another instance, it realizes this file is there. And because running 2 instances of pacman at the same time will definitely break stuff, it waits until the first one is finished. So if I let this finish really quick, oh, systemd update. Kernel, yeah. Still waiting here. Still waiting here. And as soon as this one stops running, the file will get removed. This one will detect the fact that it's removed and it will run. And what Pamac used to do is just remove this file. If it can't start for some reason, fuck it, remove it. If you need to install the app, the user clicked install, he wants to see something happening, they want to see something happening. So now it's gone, now it's on the AUR stuff, which doesn't involve pacman. And now I can install Dolphin. And it had, yeah, they have some bad reputation for trying a bunch of stuff like this. I have one thing that I'm guilty of with InstantOS, which is overwriting dot files. If a dot file update comes out, if I change the stock dot files, or a dot file that's needed, for example, the notification center, in the past, I used to overwrite the dot file unless the user specifically disabled updates for that dot file, which is a bit, I don't know, not ideal for the user. So that's the problem that I'm attempting to solve with Immersit, which is the first Rust program that I wrote that actually does something, which will hopefully ship with the next beta. But yeah, even that is, people usually have their dot files in Git. Also, the dot files InstantOS updates are usually not the ones that people modify. And also, it's not system breaking. And I also want to introduce some kind of Manjaro-system alternative, but in my case, it'll update in incrementary steps and not just upgrade to the newest version, no matter which version it's being run on. And it's being popular in advanced communities because they want people to use Arch. They think Arch is better than anything else out there, and Ubuntu is for babies and stuff like that. I think that's one of the reasons. Like, push people towards Arch that might not be very tech savvy. I think there was long distraction number 51. Okay, welcome to the InSysOS installer. If you click next, the status will begin to pop up. If I cancel out of the installation, yup, this is still there. Oh, yeah, I don't know why. So pretend that I'm on Arch. Package X is an update from 1 to 2, and I didn't update until the version 3. Is it is pushed, will it break the package like Manjaro? In most cases, it won't break. It has the possibility to break, and if it doesn't break with the system, with the incrementary system, if it ever breaks, it breaks always, and if it doesn't break, it'll never break. Unless you messed with your system in some way. If the package has an update from 1 to 2 and it didn't update until the version 3. So you mean directly updating from version 1 to 3. This will not break the package usually because it's just replacing files. Like if I go into my instant build directory, this is a normal Arch package. It's just an archive. You have in here the pkg info, which has the author and everything. You have the mtree, which is file info. Build info is which system it was built on by me. And then you have the files, and what it'll do is just treat this as the root directory. So it'll just copy this into the root directory and remove anything that was there previously. So it'll place this in user, which will result in user bin alt tab being extracted out of the archive into user bin alt tab. It's just replacing files. There's nothing that can go wrong because all the previous files are either replaced or removed. The problem is when you start introducing scripts. I don't know if I have any packages that do this. I don't think so. But what you can do is also have a shell script in here that will run when you install the package. And this shell script, if it relies on the previous version of the package being there, and it's not there, it's an older version, it'll break. And I have never heard of an Arch package being made in a way that breaks in this way. Like mostly it's something like pre-enabling a systemd service or something like that when you're installing the package. It's mostly not modifying anything about the package. But in case you do that, you should just look out. And I think the Manjaro devs don't really have like testing machines that intentionally skip upgrades. That's why they don't pick up on those bugs. Like they probably do some testing, like have a bunch of laptops, install it on there, and test out stuff. The problem with Manjaro is that it skips updates. Skip 2. Yeah, if you skip 2, also if you German again, if your version 1, 2 comes out, you don't update to it, 3 comes out, and you update to 3 directly from 1 to 3. If it runs a shell script on the update and the shell script thinks is made to upgrade version 2 to 3, and you're actually upgrading 1 to 3, it might break. Again, most cases it doesn't happen, but on say a 5-year-old Manjaro installation, it's bound to happen at some point. And I don't think there's ever a convenient time for a bootloader not working. Okay. So we still have this here. I don't know why. Check out the htop. This is too small. Oh. Ah, there we go. Full screen. Where is it? Start instance OS. I mean, that's fine so far. I think it's owned by root, actually. Oh, here's something. st-e bash. If I close this, it sleeps. And then it'll probably open it back up again. Yup, there it is. Okay, that's a problem. Okay. This is confusing right now because this is part of the virtual machine and this is native. Sleep 10. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Install utils maybe. Oh, that's not it. Aha, I've heard that rolling release is easy to maintain. If you don't miss updates. And again, it's not a problem with the rolling release model. There's nothing wrong with replacing files all the time. It's just the shell scripts that can be problematic. And whether or not it's easier to maintain, I don't know. Probably rolling just really means you're always on the latest stable version of the software, which can be easier because you don't need to stay on old versions of the software and backport stuff. I have no idea how Debian maintaining works. PD workspace live utils. I think this might actually be the root of the problem. This seems probable. Okay, this doesn't break, and I have the feeling that the status also doesn't break anywhere. Like break in the sense of exiting a while loop. Okay, we need to check out what happens if we cancel the installer. iRoot cancel install 1. Okay. If iRoot cancel install, then I'd say rolling release is better unless you have a reason not to use it. Yeah, pretty much. Like with companies, it's often the reason that the stuff doesn't change. Stability in their minds is it stays the same, and I can rely on it being the same as I'm used to. That's kind of important because they often build really convoluted systems around maybe even exploiting bugs or working around bugs that they find in the stable version they have. And in a rolling release, that could change at any time. For a desktop user or a personal user or anyone who doesn't build huge convoluted systems with hundreds of people working on them, I don't think it's a problem. Cancel install. If I wrote cancel install. Why actually is it... Why actually is it reading that? If... And, oh, this is interesting probably. Install cancelled, install cancelled. It's in archinstall.sh. Cancel. There it is. Pickle instant OS install. Okay, this does not kill asynchronous while loops, I think. Yep. Which means we need to have those loops detect whether or not this is there. And if it is, then kill it. Let's do this. And also this, just for good measure. So, whoops. What happens if I split this? Okay, maybe not. That takes too much space. Pkill sudo -i pkill instant OS installer. Oh jeez. Instant OS install. Oh, I think we I think we have the wrong name. Oh no. What? Ah, okay. There we go. And now, if we close this, it shouldn't come back up. Awesome. So, there we go. Just to be sure. Is this overkill? This looks hacky. You can add both the videos like this and on the page material in Spanish and the possibility of subtitles in another language. It is appreciated. The Linux distribution is spectacular. Oh, thank you. I don't want to just run it through Google Translate. There's browser extensions for that. But if anyone wants to translate it, feel free to just submit pull requests to github.com/instanOS/ oops, wrong one, /docs. It's all in here, just Markdown. Don't need to know anything fancy to write stuff in here. Another question. InstantWM supports touchscreens. Why? Why touchscreen in a tiling WM? Why not? Like, floating is actually not a good system for touchscreens because A, you often need the screen real estate, because they're often small and it's really fiddly moving them around. I'm also planning on introducing like a layout that's similar to Android and iOS in the way that you can swipe on like a bottom bar to do stuff with Windows. And I think it's a really good fit. Also, most touchscreen devices are fairly low powered, which is a good fit for a Linux distro, which is really lightweight. And as a nice bonus, it won't be hard to implement because I already have it just as a... Well, I need to learn how to speak again. My brain is dead. Because there's already a gesture system. There we go. I think it was literally just a typo. Oh, jeez. I mean, this should include this one, right? Okay. This program is committing suicide. Oh. This will definitely get me demonetized. It will in a video game, definitely in a video game. No, this was supposed to be a secret. Fix canceling installation. And I also have a mirror on the website for the Git redirect. Uh-oh, YouTube doesn't trust you anymore. Low power, will we see an ARM build? A community version that pretty much has been abandoned, fortunately. But once the stable release is out, maybe I might port it to ARM myself. Update, whoops. Update install script. There we go. And yeah, I think that should get the thing working. Let's see, that was actually the last one on the to-do. Continue booting. I think I'll try the installer and see if canceling it works now. And after that, I think I'll end the stream. It's been long enough. And it's been fun returning to it. I missed streaming. Actually, if I move away from the microphone like this, are you still able to hear me, or do the acoustics change? Ooh. I don't know. I have some stuff that's meant to compensate for that. So that the volume... Oh, I think it's doing its job. Yep, there's no massive decrease in volume. Just load him closer. Okay, close all this down. Close all this down. Sometimes the Git redirect takes a while to update. Whoa, these are out of sync. Okay. I think this might also be due for a redesign sometime. Install. But we're not actually going to. Doing this. Cloning InstantArch. Synchronizing package stuff. I don't know why it pops up the terminal. Did it always do this? What's happening? Oh, okay. I think now it's going to close the terminal and there we go. It's not closed for some reason. Huh. Did that happen before? Why did the change that we did impact that? I don't know. Can I close this? Yep. Next. Okay. So now cancel installation. Yep. Be gone. Be gone. Cool. I think it won't come back up. Yep. Okay. Another thing we could do is reset the wallpaper and kill the instant menu status line in the bottom. That could definitely help. But I think I'll add that to the to-do and we'll do that another time or off stream. Reset wallpaper. Reset installer data kill status line. There we go. Okay. Virtual machine dead. Okay. Question, do you think you could show off how you edited the beta video trailer in Blender? I never saw a video made in Blender like this and I'm just wondering. I actually do have some interesting stuff with Blender in mind because Blender has an excellent Python API and I wanted to programmatically generate my motion graphics and stuff. Like, not generate the motion graphics, I'm doing them by hand in Blender, but then afterwards I'm just using an add-on to make my videos look better. So basically I'm just, for example, inserting text or inserting a picture or inserting a quote or doing split screen, and I'm using simple placeholders, and then the plugin will go over all that stuff and add the motion graphics in there that I made some other time. Basically like what TV shows do, but a lot more simple and in Blender. Or actually, yeah, a lot like TV shows that have like punch and roll production. It's still in the editor, but it's automatically making the video look better. So this is what I have in mind with Blender. I'm developing an add-on at the moment. It's not published anywhere yet because one, it's awful code, and two, it's hard-coded to use my logo. And as much as I love open source, I don't want people editing their videos and adding my intro and logo to them. So yeah, but that might be still that might be pretty interesting, like kind of like Manim for Blender and for motion graphics instead of math. Okay, the analogy is falling apart a bit, but I think you get a tiny bit of what I mean. I hope it works out. I've never seen anyone do this really. Okay, but yeah, maybe I might stream the creation of that a bit. It's quite heavy on my PC, so I'm not sure how OBS will function. Click here to install is there from the first versions. Yes. Give a dislike. I know it was there like before I even started the stream. I don't know why. Like, I'd be interested to know why someone hates me, or hate is a strong word, but why someone dislikes a stream that I haven't even started. Like, have I done anything to upset anybody? And why are they too scared to tell me what I did? I mean, if I upset anybody, I'd like to make it right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the person is here. Editing stream will be fun. Yeah, maybe. 6% of viewers have disliked the stream. Quite a bad quota. Now I can complain about getting cancelled by this guy. I'm famous now. I have haters. Okay, but I think that'll be it for today. It was a nice stream. We actually accomplished something and also talked about other stuff for 90% of the time. But it was fun, and I think I'll stream more often now the next time. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Cringe. Bye.